This is Gabe Fletcher from EKU, and this is the Red, White, and You podcast.
Here's your host, Kendra Sheehan.
Week 6 is officially in the books, and we have all conference matchups moving forward. Eastern Kentucky is fresh off the bye and looking to take down a ranked opponent in Austin Peay this week at home to preserve the win streak at Roy Kidd Stadium, currently at 9 straight wins dating back to last year. Hello and welcome in to the Red, White, and You podcast, the official podcast of the United Athletic Conference. I'm Kendra Sheehan, your host, and this week our special guest is the QB1 for the Colonels, Myles Burkett. Myles, welcome to the show. Fresh off the bye week, how are we feeling?
Feeling great, feeling refreshed, feeling, rested up. Got some guys healthy, got some guys' minds right, so we're ready to go on Saturday.
What was the biggest focus during this bye week for the team and also for you personally?
Yeah, I think it's just going back to the basics, getting really, back to individual work, working on the fundamentals and the techniques of things that we can improve on as a team, and then getting back to the basics. Working, plays we've been running since fall camp, since spring ball, working different schemes against our defense, good on good, and getting really fundamentally sound during the bye week and winning the bye week.
Yeah, no, part of the bye week, of course, you do want to get a little bit of extra rest for some guys who got banged up, but you don't want to lose that competitive edge in practice, knowing that you don't have a game, but you have a huge matchup coming up this week. How do you feel like this team handled the bye in terms of keeping that level of intensity high during practice and training sessions?
Yeah, I think we're just a naturally competitive group, just to begin with. So it wasn't really a fall off by any means when you get to a bye week and you go, against each other again. But we have an extremely talented defense, which for us offensively, it's great to have a full week just going against them and really just getting better at what we do against a really talented defense. So that was really good for us as an offense. And, our defense gave us some challenges and we gave them some challenges. So it's good to see the little back and forth. It means you got a really good football team.
Now, I know that this is just your first year with the program and you have, this 9-game win streak at home, but you were a part of 2 of those win streak games here at Roy Kidd Stadium. What makes that place so difficult for opponents to come in week in and week out?
I mean, EKU in general just has so much history, right? Like it's such a historic program to begin with. So when you come to a stadium that is as historic as this one, and then obviously just the support we have from our community, support we have from our fans, and just the comfort we have playing at home, all those factors together just make it an extremely hard place to win as a road team. So we take pride in the win streak. We take pride at winning and staying undefeated here at home.
You look at your career, you're a Wisconsin, a Milwaukee native. So you start your career at Wisconsin, then you go up to Albany, and then you make your stop here in Eastern Kentucky. Why was Richmond such an attractive spot for you? And what made you interested in joining Eastern Kentucky this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, just the history of this place, a history of winning, not just here and there, but consistently. And that's something that, I love. I'm a winner at heart. I'm a competitor at heart. So we have the opportunity to win games and compete for national championships. That's all there is to desire. So I'm a Midwest kid at heart. So, Richmond, Kentucky is a little bit like home. So that was also another thing that made it pretty comfortable for me. And then obviously, we've seen it this year, this stout defense and the ability we have on offense, you can't find anywhere else. So, that made this decision pretty easy for me.
What were some of your takeaways at each of those stops, Wisconsin, Albany, that you bring to Richmond to help this team move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go stop by stop at Wisconsin, I learned how to practice and prepare like a professional. I play with a lot of talented players, play behind, some talented quarterbacks, and then been around some very well-respected coaches and well-respected men in our sport. So I think I learned how to practice and prepare like a pro at Wisconsin. At Albany, I learned how to play football. I think it sounds cliche, but when you get to the opportunity to then become a starter at this level, you got to learn how to play football again. And that's sometimes a challenge for young players and first year starters. So I think at Albany, I learned how to play football again. And then here, I'm learning how to lead, and I'm also, learning how to win. It's very hard to win at this level. I think it's very hard to win at any level. But learning how to win, learning how to lead a group, and learning how to be authentic and genuine in it.
What part of your game, and you might have just mentioned it, but what part of your game are you most proud of?
I think it's my ability to to keep a even keel throughout the game. I think it's easy to get caught up in the highs and lows of a football game. It's a very an emotional sport. You know, Coach Wells always said, you know, you can play with emotion, but don't be emotional, right? It's easy to lose your head. It's easy to get real excited after a big play and then get really down about after a bad play. So I think staying even keel, being that spark for guys when they need it, and then also being that guy who can bring guys down and refocus after a big play.
Now, you come to Eastern Kentucky and you're the new QB after Parker McKinney had been with the Colonels for what felt like forever. He has been a longtime QB for Eastern Kentucky. How did you come into the position and add your personality, your flair to a position where fans knew just one QB for quite some time?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is, and there's no disrespect to any QBs that come before you, but you got to be yourself. You know, you really can't try to replicate, you know, what worked here, but just do what you do that is can be successful for the team here now. Because, you know, obviously if you try to replicate something you're not, you know, you're never going to be successful. And that's something you can run into, especially as someone who follows such a talented quarterback, is trying to do what they did because obviously it worked. But, you know, that's not really the formula for success. And so that's something that I've gone through this season in general is, you know, really trying to find my identity and week by week, you know, put my stamp on things, put my identity on some things, and then, you know, try to get the guys to buy into that.
If you had to describe what your identity looks like now, what would that be?
Yeah, I think you know, it's funny. Braden Latham always calls me fearless leader, and it's kind of like, you know, it sounds funny, but it's kind of what I try to be. I don't really, uh, I have no fear in this game. Any opponent, any situation, you know, I take pride in taking the snap every single snap. But then also trying to be, you know, a commanding leader. I think you can demand without being disrespectful. I think you can also try to, you know, inspire guys, try to give them that spark, you know, get guys to believe that they're capable of doing things that they might not even feel they're capable of. So, yeah, Braden always calls me the fearless leader, and that's that's kind of my identity in a small box.
Now, you mentioned obviously the fearless leader part, and you said you've been going up against this talented defense that you guys have had for the last week and a half or so. Who on that defensive side maybe brings a little bit of fear into your game, just in terms of, you know, they're a menace and you know they're going to get after opposing teams, but this week they're coming after you.
Yeah, I mean it'd be disrespectful to name one guy because there's a ton of them over there. So, but I just think about in practice, Jeremiah Bailey, he's always in the backfield with me. It seems like, and Jaheim Ward, you know, we'll talk back and forth. He'll get me, I'll get him, but at the end of the day, they make me a better quarterback every single day. And you know, I'm really glad to have them on my team. I don't have to go against them on Saturdays. I'd rather go against them Monday through Friday. But yeah, just to name a few. I mean, there's more guys in that defense. Vito, Sully. K. Smith, Gabe Fletcher, like all these guys that can wreak havoc on Saturdays, but you know, in practice they can get after me a little bit.
We got to talk to Gabe Fletcher at Media Day, and he was just incredible, provided a ton of energy. I think broke down some dancing moves too. What is it like with him in practice, just having that energy always around?
Yeah, he's a knucklehead. I mean, that's just he's a knucklehead. I call him a big baby because he's just like he's huge, a huge guy, but like such like a young personality, and you know he'd never fail to bring a smile to somebody on your face, even if it's like, man, what did he just say? But no, he's a he's a great teammate. First of all, I think he's got the ability to connect with anybody on the team, no matter if it's the freshman walk on or fifth year starter. It doesn't matter. He can connect with everyone, but at the end of the day, he gets on the field and he makes plays. So he does the best of both worlds.
For you developing that continuity with your wide receivers, how did you do that, and how are you continuing to improve that as the season goes on?
Yeah, I mean, as a first year guy here, it's always going to be a continuing process. It's something that it's not going to happen immediately. So I think the main thing is not getting frustrated when things, aren't clicking like you want it to. I think it's easy to take that route and just assume, man, like it's not working, it's not going to work. Nah, you just got to keep pressing. Like I say, keep giving those guys motivation. I always try to give them confidence because if you have confident guys, they'll make the plays when you need them to. Because as good as a quarterback I think I might want to be or I am, you're going to need your receivers to bail you out sometimes. I mean, they from high school to the NFL, there's receivers making contested catches, receivers making catches on bad balls. That's just the nature of the position. So giving those guys confidence and then, being genuine with them in terms of, teaching them how I'm approaching the game and then how can they approach the game and then tying that in with what their coaches are trying to tell us and just to try to build that connection.
You mentioned coaches. You obviously work closely with Maxwell Smith, the quarterback's coach. What is one thing that he's taught you and that you've taken away to add to your game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique position to have a guy who's played at a high level, who can coach you. A lot of times you'll have a coordinator or QB coach who didn't play the position or didn't play the position at the highest level. So I think it's an exciting opportunity to have him, and I think our relationship has only grown since I've been here. But he can tell me something. It's like, you know what, I did that before. I've experienced this. I've been in your shoes. It's easier to relate, to someone like that because he's telling you from a firsthand source. So, he's really just been these last few weeks, trying to preach, efficiency, being smart with the football, understand, your times to take shots, understand your times to get the ball, under the sticks or, whatever it may be. So, but I think the biggest thing is the connection we have in terms of him playing position and then also being able to pick his brain.
Now, obviously, you continue to grow, continue to develop. You're just going to keep getting better and better with this system. But what is one area of your game that you really hone in on trying to improve? One area that you feel like, maybe that's my weak spot if I have one.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get better in every single, area and facet of your game. I think anybody who's satisfied with where they're at, is not going to be successful. So, but I think in terms of this season so far, I think being able to, control the controllables, right? Making the routine plays, and then also just, trying to just build drives, sustain drives and be consistent throughout all four quarters. I think that's something that we preach to our entire offense is, we have the talent, we have the ability. We don't have anything that's, outside of these four walls, right? So just understanding that we have the opportunity to be explosive offense. We have an opportunity to be an efficient offense. We just have to go out there and execute on Saturday.
Now, for fans that don't know you as well, since you're new to the program this year, what is one thing that nobody would guess about you, whether that is a crazy story, a fun fact, a crazy hobby, something that no one would guess just by looking at you?
Yeah, I mean, I get my fair share of, side eyes for it, but I'm a huge wrestling fan. WWE, huge wrestling fan. Went to WrestleMania, go to a lot of the events all here and there, but that's my thing. I collect the belts, everything, go to the shows. Sat front row in Lexington at one of the SmackDowns. So I know people can have their opinion about it, but that's just been my thing. Me and my brother, it's been our thing for a while.
How did that even start? And is your brother close in age with you and just kind of, you just started watching it?
Yeah, I mean, I think every guy watched wrestling growing up, right? And then all of a sudden, someone told them when they were 12 it was fake, and they stopped watching it. But I actually came back around it in COVID, because I had nothing better to do. So I was just watching it, and all of a sudden, it stuck with me. And my brother, he's 30. I think he's 33 or 34, but he's my older brother, but he was really into it throughout COVID too. So it's kind of something that we kind of took up to connect with each other a little more. So ever since then, it's just been hooked.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of an age gap there, but you guys found a connection through WrestleMania. Did he play football or any sports, or he was out of that?
No, he played sports in high school, but I mean, he was in high school when I was real young. So I only remember like things through pictures and stuff like that. But he was a track and field athlete, played a little bit of football, but we're a sports family. So, he'll always ask me about the game plan, what's going on. So that's pretty cool.
I was looking through some of your social media, and of course, I saw obviously a huge Brewers fan coming from Milwaukee, retweeting a lot of stuff. I'm from Chicago, so I'm a Cubs fan. So sorry about the win yesterday, and I would play again today. But is baseball another sport that you take up as kind of, something to take your mind off of football, academics, and when WrestleMania isn't on?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's basketball. So I'm a huge Bucks fan. Like ride or die. Went to almost every game when they won the championship in 2021. But yeah, baseball is another thing. I think it's easy to watch. It's easy to follow because it's kind of low, you know, low intensity. Kind of you can kind of here and there. I mean, I will say I'm more hooked during the playoffs, just like a lot of people are. But yeah, I mean, I'm just a sports fan in general. I'm a sports junkie. I just love sports. Anything, I'll turn on whatever it is. I'll watch some archery or whatever it is. I don't care what it is. I'll just turn it on and watch it. But that's just me.
So that's pretty much how you'd say you'd spend your free time, pretty much watching sports if you're not playing and practicing sports.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's just my life, and I think that's ingrained in me by my parents. They put me in every sport when I was a little kid, and ever since then, I've tried every sport. I've watched every sport, and it's just stuck with me since then.
What is one unique sport that you tried that was harder than you thought it would be?
Honestly, the most unique sport I played was hockey. I played hockey when I was a little kid, and I remember it always came to, think it was like second grade because hockey season and football season are at the same time. So my dad's like, "Hey, you can go play hockey or you can go play football." And I was torn. I remember I was like real devastated. I had to pick between them, and I ended up picking football. And I think it probably was the right choice for me.
Going back to football, I mean, you're playing Austin Peay this weekend. The past 2 years, even though you haven't been there, I mean, this has been a close game. Both games going into overtime. It's a little bit of a rivalry being so close to each other. And so, what does this team need to execute on Saturday in order to come away with your first UAC win?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Wells says that the team who makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this game. I think they've shown throughout this season that they're going to be okay with the shootout, and that's a credit to them. They have a very explosive offense and a very good defense. So we're going to have to come out and play clean, play efficient, and execute. Because if we don't do those three things, they're going to run away with this game pretty early. And a team like that, you don't want to fall behind. So they're a really good team. They're going to come in here, with some confidence, with some mojo. They had a really good win last week, but we got to step up to the plate and respond and answer.
Well, Myles, best of luck to you this weekend and the entire EKU football team. I'll be covering that game from the sideline, so I will see you in Richmond as Eastern Kentucky hosts Austin Peay. It is a 6 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on ESPN Plus.